Hi guys, thanks for checking the video out. Steve Buzzer here, and today the USGA and the RNA have announced that they are going to start looking into the distance problem that we have in golf. They're going to start looking at the equipment, seeing if they can make alterations. They have done it in the past. They are going to look at seeing what they can do. This won't happen overnight, but if we go on what they have done when they set out to change something, they do usually do it, whether that be for the good or the bad. But let's look into that. So, in my opinion, you have to change the ball, or they will have to change the ball. I think they will stay away from the clubs. Reason being, two reasons. One, I think the ball is the easiest way to bring the distance back, and you could have amateurs using one ball and the tour professionals using a different ball. It means from a marketing standpoint, the clubs can still be the same. The manufacturers aren't going to want to be paying tour pros to use a club that the amateurs can't use, or they'll be using different types. So I think it makes sense from a business perspective just to change the ball. If the RNA and USGA do go down the route of changing clubs, there is going to be lots of lawsuits. It's going to be messy. So I think with the ball, the governing bodies can get the manufacturers on board sooner. I think they can come to agreements quicker. If they make the ball go shorter, and this is what I've been hearing today, well, Bryson will struggle. I think whether they do it through the ball or whether they do it through the clubs themselves, if you make it go shorter, it helps the longer hitters. Because think about it, Bryson, the likes of Rory, take Rory at Torrey Pines last week, hitting the driver miles, and he struggles with his wedges. He's still going to be longer than the hitters that are currently behind him. He's now got 8-iron in his hand, which he's actually pretty good with. They've now got 5-irons in their hands. I think shortening, making the ball go shorter, or making them just hit it shorter, helps the longer hitters. If you want to try and make it so it's fair, so let's say we were trying to actually make the longer hitters not be as effective, you would have to really make that ball spinny. So basically, if you swing it slower, you could probably control the spin more. I think that really does go against the athletic nature golf has started to embody. So I hope they don't go down that route. Plus, you go into a real spinny ball, those shorter hitters are going to be just as short, if not shorter. Because remember, if you're hitting it a long way, you're probably the person who is controlling that ball better. I don't believe, and I don't buy into the notion that the longer guys are wider. Mechanically, they are efficient. So it will be interesting how that affects it. Should they change it? So it's a very simple one from amateur to pro. So they would be crazy to roll it back for the amateur game. There's no evidence to say amateurs are going further. If I play, I'm very fortunate where I work at the Bonita Bay Club. The 5 tees aren't getting worn out. Most of the membership are not off the back tees. This distance, hitting it too far is not a problem in the amateur game. We don't want to make the equipment harder to hit. We don't want the ball spinning and harder to control. So they would be crazy to change it in the amateur game. I've got some stats here. I borrowed stole from a Golf Digest article. Last year, PGA Tour was going 3.1 yards further on average compared to the previous year. European Tour, 6.9, so almost 7 yards. Corn Ferry, 0.2, so no change. Champions Tour, 3.1 yards. LPGA Tour actually went 5 yards less. So those numbers, again, it was a slightly short season. Those numbers don't really justify or mean anything. You've got to remember one thing is with tour pros in particular, if you give them a wet golf course, they destroy it because they play target golf. So to make it harder for the tour pros, you make the course play firm and fast. If you make it firm and fast, you're going to hit really long drives if they hit the fairway. So I personally think, like, these numbers, I don't think they are significant. You know, I haven't done the study, but I don't think they're significant. Course conditions alone could make those changes. But I think if you were really trying to deal with it, you would need to make the fairways narrow but soft. So you see there's a premium on being able to hit them. If you can actually hit the fairway, it will stay on the fairway. And then make the greens really firm. So you see you get kind of I think that's the way you deal with it. Sometimes the problem we have, you make these golf courses really firm, they're going to hit it really, really far. And that's the thing we don't want to happen. If you're a greenkeeper listening to this, you might be thinking that's a complete and utter nightmare, or it might not even be viable. And I will agree with that. That is only my hypothetical way in an ideal world. But yeah, these numbers aren't crazy. Can you justify bringing it back? Yes. I think, especially with the golfers that are coming through, especially on the LPGA, the golfers that are coming through. So in the next 5 years, people coming out of college, elite amateurs at the minute, 16, 17-year-olds, they are training better. They are stronger. And I've used this in previous videos. Javelin, they changed how far the javelin could go because the athletes had started to be able to basically throw it out the center. So they would start throwing it onto the track. So they altered how far they could go for that reason. So you can justify saying we're running out of space. We need to bring the equipment back. It needs to be done, and this is where I'm going to finish this video. It needs to be done genuinely for that reason, genuinely for the greater good of the game, not because Bryson won the US Open and he hit it really, really far. I don't feel like they did this with anchor putters. Anchor putters, people, nobody won with an anchored putter, a major that is. And then all of a sudden we had 3 or 4 winners in quick succession. And then spirit of the game, we need to change it. Do the research. Try to come up with justifications. Try and come up with a great solution. The equipment is getting better and better. Some of the R&D is spectacular. So the clubs will start going further and further. We're starting to optimize. Coaching is getting better. Our understanding, the research I did is we're starting to see, my research, if you're trying to hit it harder, it's better than just trying to hit it straight. We're starting to see that in the game. Bryson brought it in. Rory now hitting it further just because they're starting to realize accuracy and distance aren't exclusive. So they probably do need to do something, but they need to be careful on how they do it. And it's sometimes hard to, when you're making that decision, come from a completely neutral place. It's human nature. It's hard to come from a neutral place. I hope they do as good as they can do. I hope they are able to not go crazy with this and not mess up the amateur game. There's nothing, the amateur game, then people aren't hitting it further. There was a study in 2020, amateurs hitting it 5 yards shorter than they were in 2005. And when I went to a conference, which would have been, I think they do that every 5 years, every 10 years. So I might have had the previous results and they didn't find any distance gains there either. So technology isn't making amateurs hit it further. So there's no need to change the technology. Tour pros, it's not as violently up as it was, but just don't ruin it, please. This is a subject you can have a strong opinion on, but don't jump in and just make a crazy decision. Please. So there, I'm now pleading. I've gone from giving my opinion to just pleading. So get your comments down below. Do you think there is a problem? Do you think hitting it far is a skill? Because for me it is, but again, I'm biased because I specialize and look in driving performance. You know, I can appreciate the athleticism that is in the game now. But you might go, well, is that coming at expense of other areas of the game? And can we not keep buying land, making the courses bigger and bigger? You know, because I think that is justifiably a good reason to try and make changes. How would you do it? You know, this is a really easy topic to have an opinion on, but it might be a little bit harder to find or come up with the solution to that problem, if there is a problem. Thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe. Get those comments down below. I know I haven't been too active on here at the minute. I've been busy, but I am feeling fueled up. I've got videos in the pipeline, so there will be more coming on the channel. So thank you for the support. Keep hitting those long drives. Keep hitting it far. And don't panic. Surely they're not going to ruin it too much.